usa ka katawhan. Cebu Catholic Television Network.
Maayong gabi kanatong tanan ug anya na pud kita sa ato ang usa ka oras na panag-uban kada Miyerkules sa gabi. Kini ang Partners in Law kuyog sa Cebu Lady Lawyers Association ug ang Philippine Earth Justice Center. So sa sulod sa usa ka oras maghisgot ta og mga issue kabahin sa atong environment o unsay pwede natong mabuhat no isip kami mohatag big mga opinion o among thoughts na mo gikan sa legal nga perspektibo o amo sang hatagan og mga suhestyon para sa mga citizens nato unsay pwede ninyo mabuhat no kabahin ani nga mga issue. So ako si Attorney Joy Argalion, Litigation Advocacy Officer sa Philippine Earth Justice Center ug kuyog nako akong co-host Attorney Nika.
Maayong gabi sa ating mga televiewers, and I am very honored to be here again to discuss to you a very important and relevant topic. But before anything else, Attorney Joy, let's introduce first our guest for listening.
So atong mga guests karon no atong suwayan og paminaw pud ang opinion o gikan sa perspektibo sa mga estudyante o dili lang sila estudyante no mga citizens, mga constituents sa pud sila sa mga lugar kung doon na ay mga gipang propose na reclamation projects. And kani sila mga banggiitan ni nga mga estudyante, amo ni silang mga interns sa Philippine Earth Justice Center. So ako mong ihatag no atong hatagan og oportunidad para magpaila-ila atong mga guests, ato silang tawagon nga guests karon. Isip mo share sila silang mga opinion. So kuyog nato karon si Jensen ug si Glendale. Jensen, Glendale?
Good evening. My name is, ako din ay si Jensen Floren from University of Cebu School of Law, third year law student.
I'm also here. Good evening. I'm Glendale Maylambuhan, also a third year law student from the University of Cebu.
Okay, so thank you kaayo Jensen ug Glendale no for joining us karong gabi una. And we're so happy na we get to hear thoughts also no from law students na nagtuon og balaod kay no isip mga estudyante naa naman gyud tay mga may ikasulti kabahin sa mga issues nga especially nga nag-affecta sa atong environment and doon na say mga legal implications on the side.
And what's interesting for the Attorney Joy is that Glendale and Jensen are both, stakeholders of this issue that we're going to talk about today. So it's really interesting to hear their thoughts on the issue.
So unsa day atong issue atong panaghisgutan gyud karong gabi una atong
So ato nag-open up sa atong televiewers no the issue we are going to talk about today is the issue on reclamation. In Cebu City, in Manila, reclamation is a very hot issue. Specifically here in Cebu City, manotice ninyo na na-adjust sa news the reclamation project in Manila na set to be implemented within a year. And then, of course, hot issue pasad proposed reclamation project in Consolacion na gi-oppose sa pagmaayo sa mga shipyard operators and the fisher folks in the area.
So atong pangutan-on no unsa man din reclamation no permit makadungog ba dunay reclamation project either kana pagpalapad sa dalan baron or kanang kana sa mga pier area or sa mga boulevard, but unsa man gyud ni siya in a legal and in a scientific sense. Atong pangatanon atong mga guests, no? Jensen and Dindel, maybe you want to share with our televiewers unsa ning gitawag na reclamation.
Based on my initial understanding, the general conception I have of it, akong pagsabot kay, it's basically creating land from riverbeds or lake beds, and this is a process in creating a new ground or landfill from the word itself, from reclamation. And as the purpose of this grading reclamation, it's supposed to be for economic urban development, for example, for a municipality or city, and for other purposes, for development in a certain area that would cater also to other livelihoods of communities there. Yeah. That's
How about Jensen?
Also,
thank you.
I agree with what Glendale said, no, na kung maghisgot taog ka ng reclamation, kung kanang inato lang pagkasabot kay mupatong ka og kanang yuta sa dagat aron mudako ang usa ka land area, or if ever ganahan ka mo himog imong kanang for bago nga island para mas dako ang land area sa usa ka municipality, mo na ang reclamation. And municipalities or local governments really push for it if they want more land space to work with, if they want economic development or economic progress, because more land space means more infrastructures can be built, more businesses can also start. So economically, it is a local government's way of really pushing for progress in their locality.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to our guest. No? So, ilang istorya is really correct. A reclamation under the law is defined good as the process of converting a submerged area or a forester land into a land area by filling land over that space or filling some dead clear materials. What's interesting about reclamation projects is that it's viewed or conceptualized by local government units or any proponent pushing for these kinds of projects as more a step towards development.
Yeah.
But the way we conceptualize development must be more complex manggod sa akin. Development from whose point of view, or development to benefit who.
Yeah.
Especially the Batang Joy, we are very aware that reclamation projects for economic development, building, shopping malls, to
to boost
the economy. But the question really is this really true, or is this concept really shared by everyone?
And also, in addition to that, Attorney Nita, sakto man na, there really is the economic development aspect of these reclamation projects. But when we started, when pagsulod na to sa new century, the concept of sustainable development has also been a growing topic or consideration when it comes to development projects, because when we say kung mahisgot tag sustainable development, we always think of the kind of development that would benefit both the present generation and the future generation. So kung unsay atong gibuhat na mga activities for the development nato karon nga nagpuyo diri sa kalibutan, it must not also affect the rights of those in patungkok mga maabot pa nga mga henerasyon no to benefit and enjoy unsay mga natural resources that we have right now. And while sakto na ang mga economic aspect or the perspective of the economic development, why is there really a growing skepticism about all these reclamation projects happening all over the country? Most of the time when we talk about reclamation projects, naadyo mga daghan nga factors involved like economic, dili lang economic but dunay social, cultural and especially environmental impacts nga kita isip mga abogado nga nagtuon or nag-practice para sa pagprotektar sa atong kalikupan, ato sad jud nang i-consider nga mga implications when we talk about projects that will have potential effect to the environment. So so ni-touch naman yun on environmental effects, no? So normally, what are the based on your understanding also as stakeholders and as law students, unsa may mga kasagaran na environmental impacts that you can foresee out of these economic developments or specifically in reclamation projects? Maybe we can start with Jensen.
So what I can see as an environmental aspect of reclamation projects or that really a decrease in marine biodiversity because as we all know, Philippines is one of the has one of the richest marine diversities in all of the world, and if we it's in everywhere. We can see coral reefs, different types of fishes, mangroves, in almost every in every place in the Philippines. And if reclamation projects continue, and if it is being pushed by the government constantly, we might lose this rich marine life out here in the Philippines. And also it's a domino effect, one good na when we lose that marine life, fisher folks lose their livelihood, and then in the future as well kanang naa siguro decrease sa kanang fish population, sa coral reefs, and also sa mangrove. So that's one, I think, aspect of the environmental effect of reclamation projects.
So, Glendale, maybe you want to add some more possible environmental effects of reclamation projects?
I agree with Jensen, no? Na mao dyan ang main, ang marine life jud, ang biodiversity jud, ang ma-adversely affect with when it comes to reclamation projects. But aside from that, although it's not just pertaining to the environmental aspect, maapektuhan jud pod ang kanang mga fisher folks, kanang mga tao na nag-agad gid ani na livelihood kanang by the seas, or kanang these fisher folks communities na ma-displace because of these projects. Mao gud ni ilang food source food, aside from kanang the marine life getting benefit from these kanang sources, daghan pug mga families ang kanang gaagad ani, and also kanang pollution pod, tanaw pod ni kanang based on studies na kanang makapollute pod ni sa mga bodies of water. And then basically that's it, kanang mga mangroves, mga seagrass beds, and especially kanang mga key kanang biodiversity areas pod maapektuhan tungod aning mga reclamation project. So maora na ako madungag.
So those issues raised by Glendale and Jensen are, very common issues. That's why daghan jud kaayo ng mga stakeholders ang nag-oppose let's contextualize, or let's give a very concrete example para ma-picture out yun sa ato ang viewers. In Manila, ang proposals for reclamations are very common in the Manila Bay Area. So, ang threat sa Manila Bay Area is there's several applications for reclamation. And aside in the Manila Bay Area, here in Cebu, naangan ni ang Consolacion and sa Manila. So, mo din na sa identified na good na like sure na ang plan sa reclamation. And as you can see, those issues mentioned by Glendale, the issue on the effect on the marine biodiversity, the effect on the livelihood of the fisher folk stakeholders in the area, mao din na sa very common and ang gipang-raise sa mga scientists, environmental advocates, na mao din sa ang very harmful or adverse effects if referred to reclamation projects.
Yes. Okay. So, manapagpakita kung unsay overview no sa reclamation projects and unsay mga possible na economic, social, and cultural aspects to reclamation. So, when we return, we'll talk more about the legal implication of unsay hisgot sa balaod kabahin sa mga reclamation projects. Partners in Law will be right back.
Siguradong pagkain sa buong bansa, masaganang ani, mataas na kita, maunlad na buhay ng mga magsasaka at mga mangingisda. Siguradong pagkain sa buong bansa.
And we are back in Partners in Law. So, ganina, nagisgutan na nato ang overview of the topic. We mentioned the economic or the side effects of reclamation. So, for today, for this segment, we will be talking about the legal remedies or unsa man ang mga balaod involved ang mga reclamation projects.
Yes. Kaya kung maghisgot ta og reclamation projects, no, daghan kayong mga actors na involved, no, kasagaran ani dunay local government units involved, usahay it's the national government, and other different agencies nga gimanduan sa balaod kung sila ang mag-monitor, sila ang mag-supervise, kung sila ang manguna jud kung naay mga reclamation projects. And of course, doon na sa mga private actors, no, kumbaga ang mga corporation or mga industries or businesses nga ni-propose or ni suggestion, ni tabang ining mga reclamation projects, no. So karon pagaisgutan nato kung kinsa man ni sila nga mga agencies involved, no, para when discussing the remedies, the legal remedies, we also would know kung kinsa mga dapat duulunon sa ahensya sa gobyerno nga atong pangutanon kung unsa nay estado aning mga reclamation projects nato, and if as citizens do naman tay katungod na mangutana kabahin aning mga proyekto. So can you share with us, Jensen and Grindel, unsay inyuhang mga balaod na nahibaw-an kabahin aning mga reclamation projects nga atong giatubang karon?
So I think una nga mo atubang gyud in terms of reclamation projects kay ang kanang Philippine Reclamation Authority no, sila ang mo sila ang naagihatagan og power sa ato ang government to look over these reclamation projects and to make sure nga kanang compliant gyud ang mga proposed reclamation projects to the relevant laws and regulations in terms of especially in terms of the environment and the property involved. And also kanang we also have different government agencies that will be kanang na ma-appeal o enforcing the laws on reclamation projects such as the Environmental Management Bureau to make sure na kanang entities that would want to implement reclamation projects or complying with the environmental impact assessment requirement of the government as well. So yes.
I-mention na ni Jensen no kanang kabahin sa Philippine Reclamation Authority, sila man jud na kanang mo-approve or mo-issue sa notice to proceed basta mga reclamation projects. But aside from that, na mention na po in part na we also look into kanang mga issuances sa DNR, na daghan man na sila bureaus no na ay EMB, Environmental Management Bureau, na po'y biodiversity management department sa ila, and kanang they target different areas for protection sa environment. And also kanang when we talk about laws pod, aning mga LGUs nato, mga municipalities, they also have ordinances respecting reclamation projects. Mao bitaw ng importante ang consultation and the presence of transparency sa mga local government units, because they also have ordinances for these, and also with other agencies na at matapay napikuan kanang BFAR, kanang Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, na kanang mag-issue pud sila mga office orders, like mga office regulations about about the status of kanang marine environment, kanang with very vibrant kanang fishing kanang communities or kanang mga marine life, and also with kanang relation sa other agencies, kanang mga DILG matapod nato with regards to ordinances sa kanang local government.
So sakto to ang giingon ni Glendale o Jensen no, na ang PRA gyud ang main regulatory authority when it comes to
reclamation. So all reclamation projects must go through gyud sa PRA. Ang application to reclaim na tigit na i-file sa ilahang opisina. But before dawaton ang application for reclamation, kailangan pa mag-secure o endorsement or letter of no objection from those agencies mentioned by Glendale and Jensen. So naangan ang letter of no objection from the BFAR or from the LGU. If really ang LGU ang mag-initiate sa reclamation plan, na apod Philippine Coast Guard or Philippine Navy if maapektuhan sila sa reclamation project. And of course, ang kaning itawag natin na protected area management board, dapat na ay clearance. Kaya I remember before at the Joy, na ating move to reclaim or to initiate a reclamation project in Toledo. But as you can see, wala gid na sa ni proceed no kay under sa atong balaod, wala di reclamation project na pwede i-approve if nganha nimo sa ibutang sa usa ka protected area. And for the information of our televiewers, ang kaning Toledo partly sa Tanyan State Protected District. So ang kaning na area is a protected area. That is why no reclamation projects are approved So kaning state protected area na ang Alaginsan, Barili, sa pa,
Marbua, Pinamungahan, tanan na mga naglinya no nga mga cities and municipalities tanang nag-atubang sa Negros no kay ang Canyon Strait as we all know is one of the richest marine biodiversity which was declared as a protected protected area in 1998. And sugad na nahitabo na deklara siya as protected area. Grabe ang paglihok alang sa pagprotekta na nga area no kay labi na manhin nato mga Cebuanos no we are dependent on fishing as a main source of livelihood. And katong nahisgutan ni Attorney Nika earlier no aside sa ang PRA as the main implementing agency, doon naman sa mga different issuances or additional nga mga balaod no nga i-issue ang DNR mahitungod sa mga reclamation projects. But before that, we'll also have to discuss kanang usa sa medyo dugay na kay siya karaan na kay siya nga balaod kaning Philippine Environmental Policy which was signed in the 70s or 80s no na deklara siya as balaod. And ang main point gid ani nga balaod is really to ensure nga ang tanan nga mga activities no nga buhaton sa ato ang all over the country would really consider the right to a healthy environment which is kana ato usa na katungod nato nga nakabutang sa atong batakang balaod. And of course, the importance really of environmental impact statements, which is, although na ani-aning balauran, no, but sa tanang halos ng mga environmental laws na to i-emphasize din na ang need for an environmental impact statement. So, Jensen and Lindell, can you share with us unsa maning environmental impact assessment or environmental impact statement? And nganong every time na ay mga projects for development, not just from the government or from the private sector, nganong permi man gyud ni mahisgutan ning environmental impact assessment? Nganong importante man ni siya?
Okay, Attorney. So, among discussion aning environmental impact assessment, akong pagsabot ani and based sad sa kato imong mention kanina katong Philippine Environmental Policy, basically mao ni siya ang process of evaluating the environmental impacts sa ngan pala environmental impact assessment of a proposed project or development. I-consider na to dire not just the environmental no kay kanang na may interrelation of socio-economic, cultural and kanang human health impacts. Pero kading kuan environmental impact assessment dili ra kay ni mo focus sa of course sa adverse impacts mo kuan pud sa kanang benefits. It includes screening kanang to determine kanang unsa na mga projects or development ang kanang kailangan og full jud or partial or ba na mga impact assessment studies, and also kanang include there ang public scoping which kanang mo identify sa mga potential impacts niya kanang relevant to assess kanya kanang magbase diri kanang sa mga legislative requirements na kanang nagihatag, and also assessment and evaluation of impacts and development of alternatives nya mo day ni kanang reporting sa environmental impact statement nya or EIA report kay matud pa aning PD 1151 dapat jud na kanang di man jud nato malikayan ang kanang adverse environmental impact, so at least atong ma-reduce or ma-minimize. Yeah, of course, natay alternative proposed action ani, and kanang we identify no we discover the short-term uses of the resources of the environment. Yeah, nang at dapat siya consistent sa kanang kuan kanang long term na kuan purpose ni na project and kanang with regards to its kanang effect sa mga non-renewable resources, yung kuan impact with other communities, fisher folk, and other kanang living resources. Mao na akong nasabtan ani attorney.
Jensen, you want to add?
I think na ingon naman tanan ni Glendale attorney no, but just to add important good as mentioned sa kanang sa Philippine environmental policy no na before an entity, may it be government owned and controlled corporation or private entity, to really have an environmental impact statement, because dito man nato makitaan kung unsa gid about ang project, unsay effect niya sa environment, unsay plano nila if ever kanang sa kanang environmental effect sa project, and kung naa sila'y if they ever kanang in connection to the project na ay mga non-renewable resources or mga depletable resources, unsay mode of action nila for that one, unsay lahang commitment to really protect the environment, but also at the same time implement their project. So basically, it's stressing na there should be a balance between a project and also the environmental protection.
Okay, so thank you kayo for sharing your thoughts on EIA, Jensen, and Glendale. No? So sakto to ilang mga naisgutan nga naagyod sa ato ang balaod, especially PB 1151 and many other laws that we have, no, PB 1586 and specific administrative orders of the DENR nga kailangan yun sa tanang activities which has the potential pa lang to harm or significantly affect the environment, no. Tanan government agencies, including government-owned and controlled corporations, tanang ahensya sa gobyerno nga naglihok ana nga activity, especially when we talk about reclamation, no, and even private corporations and individuals, kailangan gud sila mohimo, mag-andam sila daan og EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment Statement. And ilan ang ipakita, no, i-file nila ngadto sa DNR or kung unsa nga agency ang ilahang hatagan. And importante gud unta nga ipakita pud ma-available siya to the public para at least mahibaw-an, no, kay daghang tang mga nahisgutan nga potential impact to the environment. So importante sad nakahibaw ang atong mga kauban, mga fellow citizens, no, nga unsa ning mga epekto aning mga not just no the negative effects but also the positive effects atong naisgutan nila nga apil tanan ana nga report nga ilang andamot. So mo-pause sa una kita for a few minutes para pasalamatan ang ato ang mga sponsors, and the partners in law will be right back.
Maayong adlaw kaninyong tanan. Ang atong haring dakbayan sa Sugbo padayong gihasi ni COVID-19. Miabot na og 25,223 ang mga kasong natala sukad sa atong kombate sa coronavirus sa Marso sa miaging tuig. Dungan sa atong pagbangutan sa 868 nato nga kaigsuunan nga namatay, nagampo kita nga matapos na kining pandemya. Daghan kanato ang nawad-an og trabaho ug panginabuhian. Apan taliwala sa mga pagsulay, pinaagi sa pagbulig sa Diyos, mubarog kita isip mga Sugbuanon. Aron malikay kita sa COVID-19, magsulob kita kanunay og face mask, maghugas sa kamot, og maglagyo aron magpugong sa tinakdanay. Labaw sa tanan, duol kamo sa inyong mga health center o magpalista sa Emergency Operation Center aron makapabakuna. Ayaw pagpili, pagpatarok bisan unsang bakuna alang sa imong proteksyon. Protektahi imong kaugalingon, protektahi imong pamilya, protektahi ang Sugbo.
Batuki ang COVID-19. Medisina nga tumaron sa isolation. Vitamin E, Vitamin C 1000. Gikan sa alas 10 ngadto sa alas 11, Magpainit sud sa 15 ngadto sa 20 minutos. Mukaon og itlog. Mupahuway, matulog og 7 ngadto sa 8 ka oras. Muinom og 1.5 nga litro sa tubig. Tanang pagkaon kinahanglang init. Kining tanan mao ang gibuhat sa ospital aron paglig-on sa immune system o resistensya. Hibaw nga ang pH sa coronavirus maglain-lain gikan sa 5.5 ngadto sa 8.5. Ayaw itago kining maong informasyon alang lamang sa imong kaugalingon. Ipaambit kini sa imong pamilya ug mga higala. Ang pagpakigbatok sa COVID-19. Hatod kaninyo ning istasyon.
And we are back in Partners in Law. So nahisgutan nato ganina ang usa sa pinaka-importante nga proseso involved in the reclamation project, ang environmental impact assessment. So kaganina na siryahan nato ang application process. So the moment na naanay i-receive na sa Philippine Reclamation Authority ang application from the proponent, private proponent or the LGU, ang next step na makita nato ang interaction between PRA and DNR. Kay ang na-mention sa atong guest and Attorney Joy ganina na ang environmental impact assessment, this is regulated or monitored by the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. EIA is very critical and very important. Nga na manggod ma-determine kung viable ba gid ang reclamation or beneficial ba gid or naabay plans ang proponent ug unsaon niya pag-mitigate ang environmental damage na mabuhat ang reclamation project. And I want to highlight to our viewers na ang EIA is very mandatory when it comes to reclamation projects because of the nature na project, being an environmentally critical project. So naagid na sa balaod, klaro, when it comes to environmental critical projects, naagid na EIA, full-blown EIA. So an important component of the EIA process is public participation. So ang kaning mga stakeholders nato na mo-oppose ang reclamation or naapay doubt kung mo-support ba sila ang reclamation project, nanhi sa EIA process, especially the public scoping, nanha ninyo ma-air out ang inyong mga concerns or questions or unsa ang inyong ganahan ng mga namoy question na ganahan i-ask sa public proponent o unsa man inyong plano sa may social development plan ani for the future folks na mag-display. Unsa may plan ninyo sa compensation plan for the future folks, for the marine biodiversity na ma-destroy. So naana tanan nga sa EIA and i-raise na inyo sa public scoping kay Attorney Joy, as you know, di ba, ang EIA kay naaman na different stages starting from the information education. And next anak ay ang public scoping. And then, if nanay human ang public scoping, di mo na nag-report ang proponent addressing all the issues or covering all the issues raised during the public scoping. Katong issues na gi-raise sa atong mga stakeholders. Sa EIA report, dapat na-answer na nila tanan. So, after the EIA report, ma-present na sa proponent, mag-public hearing, mag-schedule for public hearing dahil na. During the public hearing, the proponent will present the results sa ilang EIA study. So, and kung said, very critical po na mahibawaan sa atong televiewers na in all the EIA process, dapat it must be conducted in a language known to the stakeholders. So, as you know, for example, ma-clear man dyan na when it comes to reclamation projects na ay mga future folks. And dili man tanan natong future folks are very technical or hibaw sila sa English language. So, dapat gamane in this, the public consultation, the public scoping, the public hearing, dapat Bisaya. Kung Bisaya man na ang mga apliktuhan or Tagalog. So, mana sa ang very important na mahibawaan nato and you have the right to assert that.
Yes. And nganong ato ng permi ibalik-balik Attorney Nita, no, is because in many instances nahisgutan man to ni Glendale ganina nga di man gyud malikayan nga do na adverse effects, no, bisag unsa pag mitigate, no, as much as we want gyud na really zero adverse effects, zero damage to the environment. Naman gyud mga proyekto nga na gyud di gyud malikayan nga dunay epekto sa environment, no. And most of the time atong i-emphasize diri nga mao nang dunay mga opposition or dunay mga pagbabag, no, dili lang sa mga lawyers ng kahibaw sa legalities from environmentalists and also from stakeholders is because of the lack of proper disclosure of all the details surrounding a certain project. So isimplehon lang nato og hisgot nga we only want na pahibaluta kung unsa ang mga nahitabo sugod sa gisaran sa pagplano ani nga proyekto hangtod sa katapusan ana nga proyekto, no, because mao na siya ang tumong gyud sa environmental impact assessment na duna sa atong balaod. Although sige tagbalik-balik aning EIA kanang ECC nga requirements, but mao man siya ang nasa balaod. Ang importante nga kabalo ang mga tao kung unsa ang epekto ani nga mga certain projects, no, within their area, not just the economic and the environmental aspect, but also the social and cultural aspects ani nga mga lugar, no, because as we know kasagaran ani nga mga area for many years ang mga tao, ang mga fisher folk dugay na kayo diha nagpuyo na sila yung mga bakaw nga gipatubo na diha for many years, and most instances in reclamation projects maapektuhan man gyud ang mga mangrove forests diha dapit sa dagat, no, because of the pagdump o pagfill sa mga land diha sa water bodies. And dako na siya og effects, no, not just to the citizens, to the stakeholders in the area, but also in the environmental aspect and in the mitigation aspect nga atong ginapush, no, because kahibaw man ta nga we are in the climate crisis, and as much as possible it really is our goal to preserve as many or as vast number of natural resources ng mga kahoy nato, mga bakaw, mga seagrasses, which are very relevant in carbon capture. And sige taghisgot about init na ang panahon, and bago lang na human ang COP26, no, usa ka dakong panagtigom sa mga liderato, mga advocates all over the world para hisgutan kung unsa ang plano sa atong environment. So ginagmay man gani nato tan-awon, no, nga ginagmay ra na nga mga proyekto in each municipalities or cities, but in an aggregate scope, no, there is a Pilipinas, especially, no, nga we know there are about 100 reclamation projects proposals, different status all over the country, but when this happens, dako gyud na siya og adverse impact to our environment. And for our guests, no, for Jensen and Glendale, since we are towards the end of our segment, so we'll just want to ask your thoughts, no, og what are the remedies that can be done by affected stakeholders, nakahisgot na taganina unsa ang mga agencies, kinsay mga angay duolonon nga agencies nato, no. So what can affected stakeholders do in these kinds of situations?
So the stakeholders, as mentioned, if the local government unit or the government itself is not following the proper process in terms of the implementation of a project, especially for reclamation sites, they can go to the ombudsman first and foremost to really compel the local government unit to hear their side of hear their opinions on the project, and also they can ask that the local government unit be follow the rules and regulations in terms of environmental protection, and especially for laws with regard to reclamation. And if the local government unit pushes on and does not really listen to the citizens and kanang gina-push aside lang for the sake of really pushing forward for the project, they can elevate the action and file for a complaint against the said local government unit for their total disregard or violation for environmental laws, because it's embodied as well sa atong local government code, no, na it is the duty of the local government units to really push for a healthy ecology for its citizens, to get its citizens as well involved in whatever they want to pursue. And if the citizens are not heard, or they're not given the opportunity to speak out or to be involved in these projects, especially kung sila maapektaran yun kay the local government unit is in violation of the LGC. So they can always file a complaint against the ombudsman in terms of the administrative aspect of that. So,
Also, to add, siguro na mention naman ni Jensen ang filing of complaints sa ombudsman. Kung nagani case, for example, na even though na nasa ordinance sa LGU mismo na kanang pwede usually manggod ang problema manggod, di ba, kanang lack of public consultation, lack of kanang release of kanang public documents needed para mag-connect bitaw ang mga kuan kanang ang timeline of events para ma-secure lang unsay na miss na process niya nasa ordinance na hindi ka maka-release sa mga public documents pero dili gihapon musugot ang kanang ang kuan mayor, for example, pwede nakaka-file na og disciplinary action, administrative complaint, and also send a letter po sa DILG, kanang formal letter, kanang kabahin sa LGU na would always refuse to release his documents, even though usahay gani nanay kanang subject to Swiss challenge na for that public document procurement. That's one thing you could do. And also, aside from these legal actions na pwede nato ma-pursue, of course, there's always that effort from the civil site itself na kanang create noise pod. Among good, some municipalities magod maybe quiet ra ba and there is lack of noise, so na lang create noise, maybe policy discussions, multi-sectoral dialogues, push for these more, and also disseminate this to various stakeholders pod, para maka-reach a wider audience. That's it. Mao na ko ma-add giingon ni Jen.
Thank you, Glenda and Jackson. So that is true, no? There are different remedies para sa atong stakeholders. We can pursue the legal road or the administrative road. And the type of remedies na open to our stakeholders, so magdepende sa as to unsa na process ang reclamation process. Just like, for example, if may lack of public disclosure of the relevant documents, pwede mo mutuwat sa FOI. So, naaraman na online. You just have to fill out some information needed, and then i-ask man po niyan o insay reason anong maayo kaan sa document. So, specify na ninyo. And what's nice is the FOI, like, they are mandated to reply within a certain number of days. So, you will really receive denial or acceptance of your application. So that's one thing. And the other thing, pwede po suwayan sa atong stakeholders ang na-mention ni Glendale. You can write letters to different agencies, just like for example in DILG, BFAR, or DNR. So pwede mo mangayo sa ilaha o documents. Pwede ka mo musuwat sa LGU. Kaya naman ang LGU is mandated to disclose relevant documents pertaining to reclamation project. So ang kana na right clear din na no na laid down din na sa balaod sa usa ka kaso by the Supreme Court. Na even in the negotiation stage pa lang sa reclamation project, wala pa aprobado na kontrata, mandated ang ato ang gobyerno, ang LGU, to disclose relevant documents to stakeholders. And another remedy, as mentioned by Johnson, is you can go to the Ombudsman, because the Ombudsman is mandated to oversee the unsa ang gibuhat sa local or all government agencies. So if na ay issues on illegality or illegal act or inefficient pagbuhat sa trabaho sa local government unit or
Irregularities.
irregularities, oo, sakto.
The processes.
Pwede mo doon, masuwat mo, file of complaint sa ombudsman. So, naapod say, of course, remedy sa korte under the rules of procedure, environmental cases, we can file an environmental protection order.
Yeah.
If na-adjust grave danger sa environment ang kanyang reclamation project.
Yeah, so daghan kaayo tang mga options no or mga avenue nga where we can air some concerns, complaints, no, both administrative and legal nga mga aspeto as mentioned by Attorney Nika. And kini important ni siya dili because we really just want to go against the government for their certain projects, but we just want transparency and information about all these projects because atong ibalik tapod no as part of their mandate as government agencies, government officials is really to be transparent and to offer disclosure on these kinds of projects because at the end of the day kini nga mga proyekto not only are these taxes of the people but also these are for the benefit mampud kaha, diba, of the people. And importante nga appeal gyud dunag gyud tingog ang mga katawhan kabahin ani nga mga proyekto. So hukot na atong oras no sa panaghisgot kabahin sa nagkalain-laing issues surrounding reclamation project. And kana nga mga issues dili ra na eksklusibo nga nahitabo diri sa probinsya sa Subo sa kini nga mga issues, same nga mga issues na ginari sa mga people, no, sa mga stakeholders from different parts of our country. So, importante nga, bisag kita, naghisguta diri sa Kabisayan, importante sa siya nga nahisgutan or maapil sa panagdiskurso sa mga katawhan, sa gobyerno, sa government agencies, kung unsa nino mga epekto ani nga mga proyekto. So, before we end, we just want to ask final thoughts and insights from our guests who are also stakeholders of these two municipalities that we've nga atong nahisgutano nga dunay mga aktibong reclamation projects dire. You want maybe Jensen can start? Isip residente sa Konsolasyon.
So sa ako lang is with regard sa Konsolasyon, our slogan is on and on Konsolasyon. So by that alone, kibalo na kana ang main goal sa among local government unit is to really push the municipality forward, especially karon na they have their sights on being a city. But I think it's important for them to consider as well na though progress is always good but naay impact ang pag-push nato sa progress ba and it's not just manggun temporary na impact ang involved karon sa reclamation project. It would trickle down to the next generation. Maapektuhan sa ang mga sumusunod na mga tao sa Konsolasyon. And if wala na nato gina-consider ba kay murag unsa may mahitabo sa Konsolasyon as it is kanang area na ganahan nila i-reclaim dapit sa kanang tayod bahaunon na siya daan kanang naidaghan pud na fisher folks nga nag-agad dira ang area in itself kanang wagi ka dira na area nagi fresh fish nga nakahilera dira sa gilid sa dalan and napoy mga balay-balay nga naa and especially napoy shipyard dira nga dako kay I think they house more than 19 shipyards dira and ang maapektuhan is 7 shipyards and we're not talking about just 50 employees na mawadan og trabaho for the reclamation area. That will be thousands of people losing their jobs kay gi-close ang kanang shipyard for the reclamation area. So what are we sacrificing for that reclamation project? So something that I want the kanang local government unit to ponder on. And what are we pushing for really? And what are we protecting? And what do we really want as a municipality? So I think that's our Konsolasyon attorney.
Thank you from our representative from the municipality of Consolacion. Okay, so let's hear from the lady from Minglanilla.
Okay, sa Minglanilla, to be very honest, mag-ura sa jud ko kanang nakabaw jud kanang project sa reclamation like the development. I've heard kana information na kanang nada itukod na like business park sa Minglanilla but I didn't know na ang development phase day ba na aprobahan na sa mayor nya nanay approval from the PRA it just shows ba na importante jud kaayo ang consultation and transparency kay very magud sa Minglanilla it's not yet a city nya kanang murag naningkamot to be kanang diri ba na mulambo sad and nang also have kanang more livelihood opportunities for the residents nang pero at the same time ang good kanang kani affected kanang barangays kanang barangay Kalahuan, barangay Tungkil, barangay Tulay kuan sa kay na siya flood nya kanang wala gani consultation na kanang sa mga residents ba niya unsao na lang kanang ang mga nakadepende diri na residents and although ang Minglanilla not like before na grabe kay ang fisher folk communities kanang daghan naghapon ang kanang mga nireklamo na kanang mga residents kay wala sila nakahibaw na kanang about this dredging and landfill nga kuan man daw ni siya kanang island reclamation so it might be meters away from the coastline pero naghapon ni siya kuan adverse impact sa kuan mga residents diri so kana lang pod mo denominator jud ang kanang lack of consultation and transparency ani nga mga reclamation projects nya I hope na dili ra ni ibaliwala sa mga agencies na moingon sila na ay di naman na importante ang kanang hearing because anyway, nanay note to proceed coming from the PRA, it's still very important to consult the grassroots because kanang sila ram gapoy maka-benefit, sila ram gapon ang kanang kuanan ni makagamit kanang in the future. So that's it.
Thank you, Jensen and Glendale. And it was nice, to get the insights from people or from, two individuals coming from the two different municipalities. Nga atong nahisgot nga dunay mga reclamation projects dito, no. Sir Linica, do you want final words?
So as for me, I'm very proud sa ato ang interns because they developed this environmental stand on this issue. And of course, I totally agree with what they say. Public consultation, social acceptability is or issues that must be discussed or must be openly project. Kay ang atong kadagatan is the lifeblood of the fisher folks or main stakeholders that will be affected by this project. So we owe it to them to consult them ug unsa ang mahatag ani na project sa ilaha. And of course, they will be truly displayed in reclamation project cases, and we owe it to them to really explain or to lay out some plan on unsay ilaha unsay ma-offer nato sa ilaha in exchange of they being displaced in the area.
Sige, siguro lang po, especially to our televiewers, we also want to make a call for your help. Dili lang, of course, we're still in the pandemic and it's not just help going out to the communities, but I just want to say na importante sa mga issues karon sa ato ang society, especially involving environment, nga kita manginlabot magpakabana ta kung unsa ang nahitabo sa atong environment, especially everything is very accessible to social media, and we're all aware nga na nagkalain-lain nga mga online petitions, infographics, mga balita nga mugawas kabahin sa nagkalain-lain nga mga projects like reclamation. And we want you also to develop more of a habit na to really think and be aware of the environmental effects of these activities, kay para nindot ang panagdiskurso kabahin sa mga issues sa environment. And dili nato ilimit nga kita dili kita residente ani nga mga areas dili ta apektado. Anyway, naaman ta diri sa syudad, sila naman na dito sa layong dapit. But importante nga sa gamay natong binuhatan sa pagpangilabot, maybe online campaigns, daghan uso na kayo na karon. So in that way, we can help these kinds of issues in our community. So, nahurot na nga itong usa ka oras na panaghisgot kabahin sa kani nga issue on the legal remedies involving reclamation project. So, we hope to see you in the next episodes. Again, Partners-in-Law is also available on YouTube, so you can like and subscribe the Cebu Lady Lawyers Association YouTube channel. Naa dito ang mga nagkalain-laing episodes sa Partners-in-Law, dili lang kabahin sa environment, but also sa mga panaghisgutan sa issue sa mga kababayenan, ug daghan pang mga isyung legal na ipakita dito, i-upload dito sa YouTube channel. So you can like and subscribe to that YouTube channel. And of course, for information, the Philippine Earth Justice Center also has a Facebook page. Doon ay pwede mo dito makakita kung unsay mga activities nato, unsay mga ongoing campaigns that we have. And we also have our website, Online Legal Help Desk is available. So kung kamo doon ay mga isyung legal kabahin sa environment, you can send us a message and we'll reach out to you on that. So, mao to, daghang salamat sa atong mga televiewers. Maayong gabi sa natong tanan and have a good Wednesday night.